Hi everybody, Susan LaCroix with Stampin' Up. I'm going to play today with some embossing paste. So you can find all the supplies for embossing paste on page 201 of the annual catalog. But you can get a jar of the embossing paste, you can get a set of palette knives, and you can get the masks that we're going to use today. So the masks comes with a set of 4, so we can use clouds. There's diamonds. There's a medallion. And my favorite, which I seem to go to the most, is the brick. All right, so we are going to just put these aside for a moment. And a couple things to note before we get started is when you're not using this, make sure you keep it closed. The embossing paste dries very quickly and it can get very hard. So because of that, you also want to keep a bin of water next to you so that as you're done with things, you can just drop it in the water and make sure you just rinse off all the paste before you move on to something else. So I'm going to start with my favorite, the brick. And I'm just going to lay it on a piece of melon mambo just so you can see it better. We're going to open it. And it doesn't matter which palette knife or whatever technique you're doing. It's totally up to you. Just remember, a lot goes a long way. So you can just start just spreading it on. You can do a pretty thin coat. You don't need to cover the whole piece depending on what your project is. All right, so I'm done with that. I'm going to drop that in my water and close up my paste and lift up my mask. Voila! There it is. So there's all kinds of fun things you can do with that, but that is the very basic, the very simple way to start with embossing paste. And as I say with most of our products, just go ahead and start playing. All right, so now we're going to make some clouds. And the fun thing about this one is that you can use the heat gun and puff them up. And it's fun to watch them because you can actually see them puffing. So, all right, so I'm going to and I'm going to probably put a little bit thicker on here for this, just for maximum puffing effect, if that makes sense. Okay. So I'm trying to get an even spreading, and I'm not doing the whole page right now. So let me drop this in my water, close up my paste, and remove my mask. So you can see my clouds there. And then I'm just going to heat gun it. I won't do it now because of the noise of the gun. So once you see it all puff up, it's going to look something like this. So I don't know if you can see the difference in the dimension and the depth of the clouds, but pretty fun. That's a pretty fun thing to do. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we can heat emboss with it as well. So I'm going to get my things ready here. I'm going to use the diamond pattern on this and just lay it on there. I have my embossing powder ready to go, and we'll use this one just for chuckles. Again, you don't need very much at all. So you're just going to cover this piece. I want completely covered because it's for the project. I'm going to show you in just a minute. But you kind of scrape it all off. Scrape this all back in, dump this in my water, close up this, take off my piece here, and then I'm going to add my gold embossing powder. So if you can also add dazzling diamonds. So I'll show you some pieces that I've done that have dazzling diamonds on them too. But you want to just cover your piece. By the way, dollar store coffee filters work great. Okay. So again, I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to move this aside and show you the finished embossed piece. Isn't that pretty? I hope you can see the shimmer and shine. And when you're heating this, you'll see it just like the clouds. You'll see it puff up a little bit. So that's a piece done with embossing powder. You can also, as I mentioned, put some dazzling diamonds on there. So here's what this looks like with some dazzling diamonds. Kind of adds a little bling to your projects. So the card that I used this for with the gold embossing powder is this card here from Year of Cheer. So I just put a piece of it under here just to add a little texture and dimension to my project. Okay, the last thing I want to show you that you can do is add some re-inker to this. I'm going to bring my other mat back down here. Put this over here. And I'm going to do this in cherry cobbler. So what I'm going to do is grab one of my palette knives. And again, a little goes a long way. So this is almost like mixing food coloring into frosting. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Alright, so I just need 1 drop. You can make this as light or dark as you want, of course, but the cherry cobbler is already pretty dark. So I'm just going to mix it all up. Try to get it as smooth as possible or get the color in there. And of course I'm going back to my favorite brick here. And then I'm just going to scrape this up and just start applying it. And for this particular project, I want both pieces completely covered. Ooh. And as I said, this dries pretty quickly, so you want to work a little bit fast. But you're going to get the idea here real quick. All right, so once I have all of that done, again, I'm going to lift up my masks, drop that in my water, drop this in the water, and move these out of the way. So here's the elements, so I'll use them when they dry, but I will also not show you this project because you're going to have to watch my next video to see how I use these 2 pieces. So I hope I've inspired you to have some fun with the embossing paste. I appreciate you watching. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.